folks, I am happy to have a lovely lady from the Philippines today. Her name is Jasmin Velasco. Jasmin, welcome to Beat Diabetes.
Glad to be here,
Well,
finally.
we're glad to have you. We have been communicating through the comments and emails for some time, and you've got a powerful story. And this is the first. Well, no, you sent me a video before, but looking at you, I'm like, you don't fit the protocols for diabetes. You're too young, and you're not overweight. One would never guess that you've ever had any struggle with diabetes thus far, but you've had serious struggles. So have you lost a lot of weight, or were you at this weight when you started having your problems?
I'm not sure, but probably 30 pounds.
You've lost about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so that can make a difference.
But I'm not, you won't consider me as big,
Right.
morbidly obese or something like that. No.
Yeah, and you certainly never considered yourself
Mm.
as that. So, and to make your story even more dramatic, you've had a stroke this year, right?
It all started there.
So up until that point, you didn't realize you had any diabetic problems or high glucose,
I
right?
was aware of it because yearly, where I was teaching before, yearly we had our uh, physical examination. That's when I knew that my sugar, was sky high.
How high was it?
Uh, I think back then, 2 years ago, it was an eight, around
Okay,
eight.
an
Yeah,
A1C around eight,
yeah, eight.
which is pretty
And
high.
then I was told to, to cut down on sugar. The, the same way your other uh what do you call this? The ones who testified also, the ones who gave their testimonies,
Right. The
the
interviews
same.
I've done with others. Yeah, that's kind of the standard advice, cut down on sugar, which
Mm-hmm.
usually is like taking a teaspoon of water and trying to put out a forest fire.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
just
heard
doesn't
you say
work.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the best way to describe it. It's that way. I don't know why.
Yeah. So I assume you tried a bit, but didn't seem to do you much good.
I did cut down on sugar, but I expected not to be a diabetic anymore, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah. And the
So
stroke that we're talking about, it was caused by my diabetes.
yeah, tell us about that. That was in March of this year. Is that right?
Yeah. End of March. Lucky me, because it was just a small dot, a small one that my neurologist told me that it was a transient stroke or ischemic stroke. You call it ischemic stroke. But he told me that I was lucky that it didn't go all the way.
Yeah. How did it feel when you were having that stroke? Did you immediately know something was seriously wrong?
Yes, I can't. Slurred speech, the usual slurred speech. My left, it doesn't show, right?
It does
But
not
my
show.
left, yeah, my left side of the face, it's drooping already. Can't speak, and my left leg, it's shaking. But at the same time, I can't walk. My husband and my son, they are both carrying. That's how serious it was.
Yeah. And I'm sure you were pretty scared. Did you say to yourself, I'm either having a
I
stroke or I
wasn't,
had one?
when you're in that situation, you kind of want to end it right away so you won't feel the pain anymore.
Okay, so
There's no
this is
use.
pretty
There's
serious. I mean, you're
yeah,
young, you've got a child, or you say a son.
a son.
You
Yes,
have a husband. You've got everything to live for, and yet this thing
and I was
feels.
happily teaching.
Pardon?
I was happily teaching.
Yeah,
I enjoy
you're a
teaching so
teacher.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go to the doctor they tell you about the stroke. They also tell you about your glucose, and
Yeah, it
tell us
was
what they told
300,
you.
300, and then down. I don't know, but it's it ranges from 260 to 300. My blood
Okay.
sugar each time they test me, and so I don't know, but I realized nothing will happen when I stay there, and so I requested to get out of the hospital. So in between, from March to when I told you that I will have my hysterectomy, that was May. From March to May, I've been in and out of the hospital for 3 times already. Yeah.
Okay, and
So
this was
it's
diabetes
okay.
related.
Yeah, all diabetes related. And then
Okay.
so I asked to be admitted out, and when and then after that, after the stroke, my focus was to it, though it wasn't I began to improve after that, but I didn't focus yet with my diabetes, improving my diabetes. And then after a week, I was rushed again to the hospital.
What was wrong this time?
I was bleeding, maybe perhaps because of the stress. So prior to my hysterectomy, I had my DNC. Do you know DNC? It's
Right, I understand. I think
yeah,
most
pure
people will.
touch. Yeah,
Yeah.
they would scrape my uterus just so to check. Okay, and then so when I was going home, that's when one of the doctors said, uh, "You're a walking
You're a walking time bomb.
time
Now
bomb."
that got your
Yes,
attention, I imagine.
yes, and then since I was a walking time bomb, and then I realized that my life will end soon. I searched for prayer of a diabetic,
Yeah, I
and I
was
found
reading.
you.
Yeah, I was reading that in the in one of your emails you sent me, that the words you typed in on YouTube were
Prayer
prayer
of a diabetic.
of a diabetic, and I
Yes.
have to say I've never heard anyone say that's what they use. Usually
Oh,
it's how to beat diabetes or how to reverse diabetes, but you're
oh,
typing in prayer of a diabetic. You run
yes,
across me, and what
yes.
did you think when you started watching my videos?
Oh, oh. There was a specific one which appeared. You were looking for an exact Bible verse that would really describe diabetes, and a story about it. And then you told us that the reason why there was no verse about it, because there was no diabetes back then.
At least there wasn't much. So
Yeah.
from that, I assume you.
Unlike my cancer, which is bleeding, uh, I could somehow relate to the bleeding woman in the Bible. She
Right.
was bleeding for 12 to 13 years. Same years. Same. We had the same. And then
So
she
you've had a bleeding problem for
yeah,
years.
yes, for
Yeah.
years. Same. Mm. Same number of years. 12 to 13 years.
Okay. And
Mhm.
is that has that stopped? Is that gone into remission?
It didn't stop, and then I was bleeding profusely. That's the reason why I was rushed to the hospital again a third time, and finally they I had my hysterectomy, total
And
hysterectomy.
yeah. So, how about your blood sugar levels? You started watching my
Oh,
videos. Tell us
yes.
how that affected you. What changes did you make in your diet, and what kind of success have you had?
I got rid of all the starch. But before that, I didn't know what carbohydrates was. I didn't know. I didn't know, and so I, I, we eliminated from the house. We stopped eating all what you've said, bread and uh, fruits and vegetables. I didn't know that those will not. I mean, will raise your sugar. I didn't know that. So cut it all. And then come the hysterectomy day, my anesthesiologist, he told me that I wasn't diabetic.
Your numbers had gone down. I
Yeah.
think you said your A1C was down into the fives at
Yes.
this point.
Yeah, the defiance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, you might just he told me that perhaps my doctors were wrong, that I was a diabetic. So that yeah, I mean from April, May, 2 months, guys, 2 months. You can do it, okay? Don't give up.
So your A1C is dropping like a rock once you cut those
Yes.
carbohydrates out of your diet.
And then you taught us how to use micrometer. So I bought one. We bought one, and whenever so I cut down all. So I made a list of all the food that has carbohydrates in it. I made a list, so I started sorting, and then I just ate the ones without, because you said uh, the less I eat carbohydrates, the more quicker I would heal, and so it was real. I'm here.
Well, you're here and you're looking great. You bounced back from a stroke. You've
Yes.
had this terrible bleeding problem, and you've had a hysterectomy. You've gone through a lot this year, and now you're looking
Yeah.
beautiful and you're doing well. You got this great
Thank
smile. You're obviously
you.
you're feeling pretty good at this point.
Yeah, that is because I'm gonna get back to teaching days from now. So when I met you, I said I just came from the hospital days ago. Now I'm gonna go back to teaching days from now.
Uh, that is
God
so
is great.
wonderful. That is so wonderful. Do you see yourself eating this way the rest of your life? And tell us, I mean, you're from the Philippines. You guys eat a
Yeah.
lot of rice there, right?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Have
But
people thought you're a very strange person to cut way back on your rice like you have?
so what I do is I don't join everyone during lunchtime. So that's one of my and I join the kids as they wait for the fetchers. But you know what? It's really about setting your boundaries. It's really about that. And once you set that one, people will leave you. They'll let you be. You know, just do you.
Well, you have done exceedingly well. This has been a very amazing year for you. You've gone from the
Yeah,
depths where you were ready to end it all, and now you're filled with joy and feeling so much better. You were slurred in your speech. That's gone. Your one side of your face was all droopy, and that's
yeah,
gone. Well, you typed in prayers for a diabetic. God must have answered those prayers. What do you think?
yeah, yeah. And if I don't know if you've seen all my comments in your videos, but those comments kept me going.
Uh,
Had this interview happened 2 months ago, I won't be like this, smiling at you. being, being the old me. But it wasn't like this before. It wasn't like this at all.
Yeah. Well, God has done great things for you, and it took a little
Mm-hmm.
wisdom on your part to kind of follow
Mm-hmm.
the program, and it worked just
Mm-hmm.
about perfectly. So we're so happy for you, Jasmin. Now, let's close this by just giving some counsel and advice to some of the new diabetics. They've just been told, the doctors just told them you're diabetic and they're scared to death. What would you say to them?
The moment I saw your video, I've watched it, some of your videos, you will find yourself mimicking Pastor Dennis for a while. you you just you'll find yourself mimicking him, and then from I don't know from your place, but here it's quite easier to buy those stuff, those food that will help you cut it down, and then you, as what he said, you cut it all down. That means don't play with it. Don't just say, oh, I'm just gonna eat lesser. No, until you've healed, until you've healed. And then the moment I didn't say go back, okay, but there's a better way than just taking medicines. There's a better way. Okay, there's a better way.
Well, you have certainly found it for sure. So I want to thank you, Jasmin, for sharing your story with our friends on Beat Diabetes. It's a wonderful testimony, and we're so happy for you. And I know that you sharing your story, you're going to bless others, and they're going to find victory as well. So thank you so much.
I think I have to thank you because my first comment in your video, I don't know what what happened, but this sickness led me to you. Okay, and then that comment, which was my first time commenting ever, you took notice. You noticed it and you answered it. That's why you had the video about the woman who's told that she was a walking time bomb. And then that video kept me going. That video, because you answered it. And I hope that God will give you more time to, to scan all the comments and, find more people like me,
Yeah,
just, barely coping.
right.
That's my prayer, actually. The reason why I answered yes to this one, so that um, I don't want to cry, but guys, my beat diabetes team, as I've called you always since I've met you, um, there's hope, okay? There's hope. As my first message was, I wasn't there yet, but I know that I'll get there. And I'm here.